All right, sorry for those technical difficulties, and if you were watching the other live stream, I apologize. I'll set this up when we're done with this, but this is the 2021 Mercedes-AMG GLS 63 4Matic Plus. It's got a very long name, but it also makes a lot of horsepower, so I guess it can get away with it. Couple quick things to start. I do have a walk-around video of this vehicle that's live now. It went live at 6 a.m. today, and I will have a POV drive tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and then I will have a POV night drive at some point next week. So look for all of those. I also will have a review. I'm going to start getting back into reviews. So I'll have review on Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So look for all those things. But for now, let's jump into some questions that you guys had on Instagram and on YouTube's community section.
All right, what do you think has more prestige, the S-Class or the GLS? That's from Blake.
From Blake. Okay, what is more prestige, the S-Class or the GLS? Prestige, I would say the S-Class, because there's just something about a flagship sedan that just wows people, and it's like you made it when you've got the S-Class sedan. You don't have to make caveats for a bunch of kids, which is what the GLS does. It's just, you've got the class, you're driving a big luxurious sedan, maybe you have a driver and you are getting driven in your S-Class. I would argue you probably more likely have a driver for your S-Class than you would for your GLS. This just kind of screams very affluent family vehicle, whereas the S-Class is just like a baller move.
For such a big rig, does it make sense to have an AMG version?
Okay, so for such a big rig, and who asked that?
All right, well, it also says, how's the driving? And that's from August Humphrey.
August Humphrey, and he asked that on YouTube community. Thank you, August, for jumping in with that. For such a big rig, does it make sense to have an AMG version? I would have said no before I drove it, but then I drove it, and all of the things I love about AMG vehicles, just the power they make, the theater, the pops and overrun from the exhaust, and the way that they've tuned something that's so heavy, and a lot of AMG vehicles are heavy, to perform how they do on the road is just mind-boggling. And so I would say, objectively, approaching it, I would have said no. But then I got behind the wheel and I just fell in love. So yes, very much so do I believe that the AMG version is merited for this GLS, because it does things that a vehicle of this size should never do. All right, let's walk so people can see kind of more of the car as we're going around it. And the second part of that was...
How's the driving?
How is the driving? And that kind of leads into what I was saying. The driving is really good. Don't come in expecting a lightweight sports car. If you do that, you're going to be disappointed. It doesn't matter what the SUV is. But this one, the brakes, the front 6-piston Brembos, do a great job of stopping the vehicle. It's got 5,900-ish pounds that it's hauling around. So it's to be able to haul the vehicle down like it is. The EQ boost portion of this powertrain, and I'll get into that a little bit later. It's got a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 plus this EQ boost, which is a starter generator. And the starter generator does a few different things, including initiating the active roll bars. And so what that does, it just instantly activates the anti-roll bars, and so it settles the car, makes it corner flatter. So I would say all of those things, I'm kind of ranting here, all of those things make it such that the driving experience is really good. They set up the adaptive air suspension really well, so it's comfortable, but it handles its weight. Let's just leave it with that. What's that?
We have another comment that goes in line with that, and it's
okay.
like, does it give you an emotional feeling while driving?
Oh, yes.
And that's from Larvit and Mabu.
Okay, thank you, Larvit. It definitely gives you an emotional feeling. I feel giddy whenever I'm behind the wheel. I just kind of laugh my head off, typically maniacally, like an evil boss or something, because you're driving this and it's just, you feel powerful because you're in an SUV, but then you feel even more powerful because it's making so much ridiculous noise from that V8 bi-turbo. So you're just happy. That's the emotion I feel behind the wheel. And authoritative, I suppose, those two.
Good words. Do you like the Mercedes current styling? They have a melted stick of butter look. That's from Be Real Swanee.
Melted stick of butter look for the Mercedes styling. I would say the AMG versions of Mercedes-Benz vehicles are a little better for me because they add some muscle to the exterior, but I would kind of agree with you. There is a little bit of melted stick of butter to the styling, very rounded, smooth. I would say they go for smooth, and that is butter. Butter is smooth. So I would say the styling is more smooth, whereas competitors are a little more angular and sharp. For example, like BMW's X7, although Tesla's Model X, which is a competitor to this, is even more rounded and smooth and amorphous. I don't like it. I don't like how it looks. So I would say that, yeah, their latest styling language is, it's okay for me. It doesn't really pull me in. It doesn't intoxicate me. But the AMG versions of their cars are much more intriguing to the eye. Blinded here. What's up?
Everything. That one car nerd.
That one car nerd says everything. I think this is in response to the Instagram post that I had. What do you want to know? Everything. So that's I don't have time for that. That's going to take a long time. But I like the interest and excitement. So let me tell you a few things. I can't get you everything, but I can tell you a few things. So the engine is a 4-liter twin turbo paired with that EQ boost starter alternator, and it makes 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, sent to all four wheels. It's their 4Matic all-wheel drive system, and it's quick. 0 to 60 is 4.1 seconds, and it's fast. Top speed is 174 miles an hour. And yeah, and it's $133,000 to start. So those are kind of the big buckets. Fuel economy, do you really care? But it's, I think, 18 combined. It's not great.
Okay, are the tires too small? From Motor Oil Madness 1.
The tire's too small. Well, the tires on this one are wrapped around 23-inch wheels. So these are optional 23-inch wheels. I think they look good. I think if it were my money, because these are an extra $4,950, if it was my money, I would be spending them on the AMG monoblock wheels. So like these big, like a lot of wheel, and there's just 5 cutouts for the monoblock wheels, and they look so cool. So that's how I would spend my money on optional wheels for this. Wouldn't spend my $5 grand on these. They look fine. Sorry, that was talking about the actual wheel, not the tire. But the tires are 325 rears. So that's a thick freaking tire. I think the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat has 335s, so only slightly wider tires than this. That tells you how wide these tires are. I don't know, hang on, let me look. Front sections are 285, so narrower fronts, but still 285 is a thick tire. So 285 front, 325 rears. No, I do not think the tires are too small. They actually hold the vehicle weight really well in corners.
What's your opinion of the performance? From No Less Sungazer.
Okay, well this is a good time to pop the hood.
And I'm just gonna say I'm sorry about the camera.
Oh yeah, Christina's getting used to the gimbal. First time.
Oh boy.
All right, so here is, we're talking performance now. What do I think about the performance? I think this is a wonderful, wonderful engine. This 4-liter bi-turbo, it's AMG speak for twin turbo, has been used in a bunch of different AMG model applications, from the AMG GT to start, and it kind of worked its way into other models. It replaces their, well, they had the 6.3 liter or 6.2 liter, and then they had a 5.7, I believe. Now we've got a 4-liter twin turbo. It's a wonderful, wonderful engine. And this one, as I said, is paired with the EQ Boost starter alternator and 603 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque, connected to a 9-speed automatic transmission. I didn't mention that the last time I talked about the powertrain, and all-wheel drive, 4Matic all-wheel drive. That's your only configuration for the GLS 63. You can't obviously choose a manual transmission. You can't choose just rear-wheel drive. It has to be the all-wheel drive with a 9-speed auto. The 9-speed auto is really good. It's smooth and efficient, and then when you're actually going through the gears, it's rifle fast. It's just so quick. So the performance is excellent. It feels every bit as quick as the numbers suggest. The 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds. I would even say that's conservative. It probably just dips just into the high 3 seconds, maybe 4.0. But yeah, it's stupid fast.
Okay, this were the X7 M50 from Taj24 Hitter.
Taj24 Hitter asked, this or the X7 M50i? So that is one of this vehicle's direct rivals. This competes with the X7 M50i and the Tesla Model X P100D. The X7 M50i is a really impressive vehicle. I had that a few weeks ago and was kind of blown away at how well it seemed proportioned. Like the size and the performance. This is like so much engine and therefore just like giddy fun. The X7 felt like a really tight package. And the X7 M50i is $99,600. Again, this starts at $133,000. So there's a bit of a delta there. And the X7 M50i only makes 523 horsepower, only makes 523 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. This with 603 horsepower is just, it's a step above. So the X7, or sorry, now we can go into kind of the interior discussion, and I will show the interior because it's my favorite part of this car. The driving experience is great. The styling is, you know, it's fine. The interior, though, it just makes the car. But the interior of the GLS is better than the X7. The X7 was good. This is another level. It's amazing. The quality of the materials, the technology, it's all so good. So I'm going to say GLS 63 over the X7, but the X7 is a close second, and the P100D Tesla is behind me, the Model X.
Okay, 0 to 60 in top speed from Keep Keepin' for me.
Keep keeping for me. Okay, 0 to 60, 4.1 seconds. That's AMG's quote. I think other outlets have seen faster. Top speed is 174 miles per hour. I wouldn't do that in this, except if you're on the Autobahn. I mean, it's a solid vehicle. I just wouldn't, I don't know if I would do my 170 in this bad boy. I would do it in a sports car. Though it's possible. That's cool.
Okay, best part about it, John Callow, 5.
John Callow 5. Best part about it. Let's go to the interior. This is a good time to do that. Can you go to the passenger side? I'll open the door. Stay open? Okay. Best part about it, and so I'm also going to answer worst part about it right now. Worst part about this vehicle is the fact that they spec'd it with brown leather on black. That's a hideous combination. Do not ever do that. Don't ever spec your vehicle with brown leather inserts and black, you know, border. That's not good. And they've got different textures. I love the Alcantara, which AMG calls Dynamica, because they have to brand everything. But it's black leather, white contrast stitching, this black Alcantara, and then brown. And it's like an ugly shade of brown. So that is the worst part about this car. The best part about it, and this is, I'm just going to get mocked out completely for this, is the cup holders. The cup holders are so good because, yes, they can accommodate a small water bottle, but they can also accommodate a large Nalgene-sized water bottle in the standard cup holders. You can also fit them in the door pockets if you wanted to. This is German ingenuity, folks. And this is not like your cheap big old SUV. This is, you know, they thought about this. They said, hey, people have large water bottles and they want to put them in places. Okay, so that's me mocking it out. The other real favorite part about the car, it makes a great noise. Okay, I've got another favorite part too. Mostly just because it's hilarious. However many USB or USB-C ports you think your family will need, I guarantee they won't need 11 at one time. 11 USB-C ports and 2 wireless smartphone charging pads. So I've got a wireless smartphone charging pad here, and then because this is the executive package, I've got one in the rear center console area. But I have 11 USB-C ports. 2 up here, 1 in here, 2 more back there, 2 in the center console, and 2 on each third row seat side. I love it because it's so unnecessary. But okay, why don't you walk around to the rear? I haven't had this question yet, but I am going to rev it now. Give me a minute. It was good, wasn't it? The overrun. The overrun is so good.
Who agree.
Okay, agree. Yes, the overrun, the AMG pops from the exhaust are so good. I love it. It's so much theater. They always bring the theater. Do we have other questions?
Yes, we do.
Okay. What's happening?
But someone commented that it probably sounds better than the Range Rover.
Yeah. So this would be
That's
kind
from GG Gamer.
GG Gamer. This would kind of compete with the
SV
SV Autobiography. Yeah. Dynamic, which makes 550 horsepower, so less power than this. The SV Autobiography does sound good. Dynamic does sound good, but not as good as this. I agree with you. This sounds better. This sounds better than the X7 M50. It sounds better than the Tesla because the Tesla doesn't sound like anything. Sorry. Just get upset.
What about the Sport SRV? Is that
The SVR?
SVR, sorry.
The SVR. The SVR. So, like, AMG does artificial tuning with their exhaust, and they pipe in some noise in the speakers. The SVR does so to, like, another level. The SVR sounds really good, but so much of it sounds like it's artificial that kind of takes the fun away from it. I'm going to go with this one still.
Okay, and GG Gamers saying, yeah, the Tesla sounds like wind.
Yes. A soft breeze. That's the Tesla.
Okay, from Bardock is best one. Would you ever take this to a track?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because I would have to go get to my race car at the track, so I would drive myself and my family to the racetrack in this. No, I would not take it on a racetrack. Actually, I kind of would. I would, just for fun. Just because I tell you honestly, I've taken this on some fun, twisty roads, and it blew me away how capable it is with the all-wheel drive system, the EQ boost, the active anti-roll bars, the brakes, the engine, clearly, all of those working in concert. It makes it so fun to drive. I would take this on a track just to scare some people who don't believe that a big SUV should be able to do the things that it does. But would I actually go race it on a track against other cars? No, I would. This would just be hot laps for myself and some people who would be scared.
Okay, GG Gamer adds on to that, I think, and says, is it flat around corners, and how does it handle, and do you think it handles better than some sports cars?
Good questions, GG Gamer. It is flat in corners if you're, responsible with it. Yes, it's 5,900 pounds. It's got a high center of gravity. Those are all working against it. But the active anti-roll bars that can be triggered on instantly, and the suspension tuning that AMG has done, and the wide tires that I've already mentioned, and the brakes, they all work well to keep the weight managed in corners. So corners very flat for its size, certainly. Yeah, you can go too crazy with it, but the all-wheel drive system is keeping you safe. But you can overshoot something and totally understeer and go nuts. I wouldn't do that. But you can mess it up. But for the most part, it's really good at handling. And was there like another part to that question? I forgot.
Well, do you think it handles
Yeah.
better than sports cars?
Oh, better than sports cars. That's right. Some sports cars, yeah, because AMG just throws so much money at tuning the dynamics, engineering it such that it handles really well and kind of blows your concept of a large SUV out of the water. And some sports cars are like, I feel like they are they don't have the engineering dollars behind them. I'm not going to name any names right now, but it does handle better than some sports cars. Not most of them, but some.
Okay, from Spence T15, is the upcharge from the GLS 580 worth it to go for the AMG if you can afford it?
I was hoping this question would come because the GLS 580 is, so all of the interior stuff that I love, and I'm going to jump in the back seat just as we're talking about the GLS 580. All of the interior stuff that I love. Oh, the door almost took out Christina. All the interior stuff that I love is available in the 580, and so much of what I love about this car is all of the interior stuff. I mean, look at this. I've got a little tablet here. It's mine. Come on out. There we go. I'm leaving now. See ya. No, it's really cool. The tablet basically controls the MBUX sound, infotainment system up there, and right now it's This may take several minutes. It's configuring. I'm not going to mess with that. Wireless smartphone charging pad. As you can see, plenty of legroom. I've got a heated and cooled cup holder. This panoramic sunroof is amazing. I know it's going to take a second for the gimbal to swipe up to see this. Now we can see panoramic sunroof is awesome. And so is the Burmester sound system. These look like, and I definitely put this in my review, so you're going to hear it twice if you watch both. But they look like you could just remove them and like take them to a party, like the little sound boxes. You just take them and go. But they just look so cool. And you've got one there, one back here for the third row, and then you've got a pair of speakers up on each front door, and a pair of speakers on each rear door. But this sound system is incredible, and it's made even better by the fact that this model has the additional cabin insulation and acoustic front windshield and acoustic front glass. So it's very quiet, and then you've got a killer sound system on top of that. So it's amplified in its awesomeness. All right, so this thing is finally done loading, so I can kind of show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but maybe I'll bring it to you. There's a little tablet back here, and these rear passengers can like watch movies on it, or they can control this with the executive package. You've got rear massaging seats. So not only do the front passengers get a massage, you get a massage as well. You can have your choice of one of 4 massages, and your seats are heated and ventilated. And it's got this rear privacy glass, so it's nice and dark in here. And then if you want to go to your music, you can fire off the music, and you use this as a remote control. You can literally take over the front display if you want to, and just scare your passenger or your driver.
Don't give it to your kids.
Don't give it to your kids. Yeah, that's a good point. Media, radio, and you can even press this button. You can like Google search for stuff because it is a Google tablet, and you've got all these apps for games and you name it. So it's just super cool. Yeah, that's rad. And these seats. Okay, so I'm getting along in the tooth here. You asked me GLS 580 or AMG. The 580 is 9.9 out of 10 of what the AMG version is, and the GLS 580 is chunks of cash cheaper. But that last one out of 10 is a very strong 1 out of 10, because that engine, the 4-liter bi-turbo, is so good and so fun that you feel like you're just like having a gaming experience every time you take this car out for a drive. It's so entertaining. You just get excited to go drive it, to go to the grocery store or take your kids to school, whatever. It's just fun. So I would spend the extra money, because if we're talking $100,000 plus here on a 3-row SUV, what's another 30? Granted, I don't have that kind of money, but I assume if you're looking at vehicles in the 100,000 and up, what's another $30,000? So yes, I would get the AMG version, but the GLS 580 is fantastic.
Okay, from Alkesh Patel, what are the screen sizes?
Screen sizes. So this is a 7-inch little tablet, this one in here. Up there, you've got a pair of 12.3-inch displays. The one on the right, 12.3, the one on the left, 12.3, and both super reconfigurable, and you can control them. Stay here, and I'm going to show you. You can control them in a few different ways. So this one on the right, you can use this smartphone style like touch interface that uses the sensitivity in your fingers to control it just like a smartphone, and you can press it to hit buttons. You've got also quick functions like home screen, and then you swipe over and all that good stuff. Or you can use this trackpad just like a computer. Use the trackpad to pinch and zoom on things. So we'll go to the navigation, I'll show you that. Pinching to zoom, squeezing in to zoom out. It is a little sensitive sometimes, but it works mostly well. And then if you don't want to use that, you can just touch it. It's a touch screen, so I could touch navigation and I can move the screen around. It's very responsive. The graphics are awesome. And got so much telemetry information in here, and cool gauges. Like I can show the G meter off to the left and right for all the track driving that you're not going to be doing. Off-road monitor for all the off-roading that you're not going to be doing. Again, it's ridiculous, but they give you 2 off-road modes for this vehicle and an air suspension. You're not going to take this off-road. Max, you would take it on as a fire road. And then over here, you've got the instrument cluster, and you can reconfigure it a bunch of different ways. So again, using the same kind of setup as over here, using over here to swipe up to change the information in the left gauge, and then you can go to the middle by swiping over if it wants to respond. Sometimes this thing just doesn't work. Okay, and then you can change up your screens here, show speed, fuel consumption, trip, all that, and then you can go full screen if you want to, which is a cool little visual. Then you can go over here to change this display to have some other stuff on it. Let's go to settings, system, designs and displays. So these are the classic gauges right now. If I wanted to go sport, watch how this changes over here. So now I've got like a yellow background to it. Oops. And then over here, if I was to come out of this, yellow kind of accent lighting on all there. And if you had it set up this way, all of the ambient lighting, which is shown here, hard to see during, middle of the day, but all of the ambient lighting will change. Then there's also one other display that you can do, Super Sport. So coming over here, you can see that now it's like a tunnel that you're looking through. Super cool. And your power's on the left and your EQ boost thing is on the right, which you don't really care about, but the power stuff's cool. The tachometer did disappear, so if you were looking for the tach, you're not gonna find it anymore. But the Super Sport one is specific to the GLS 63 AMG. The GLS 580 has the Sport and Classic, but it does not have Super Sport. So that's the gauges within the MBUX system. Again, 12.3 and 12.3 setup there.
Okay.
Alcantara headliner too, that's nice.
We have a lot of comments on this. It sounds amazing. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then let's go. Oh, from Kay, how much does it weigh? Thanks, Kay, for returning from last week.
Oh yeah, thank you, Kay. The weight is, I don't know if they have released official curb weight on this vehicle, but it's around 5,900 pounds, so just under 6,000 pounds. It weighs a lot, but it's got so much technology in it and that big motor that you can understand where the weight comes from, and the all-wheel drive system and the big wheels and tires. You can see where the weight comes from. I'm actually going to show you where some of the weight is dedicated to right now. We're going to go to the trunk. So when I saw this, I had mixed feelings. One, I just saw it as so ridiculous, but two, I was just impressed with the level of ingenuity and just like thinking through all the ways that you would use this vehicle. So in some cars, you have power folding buttons for the second row, maybe even the third row. And you have that here in the GLS 63. But you also have another set of controls that raise and lower each individual seat, which I understand you being able to do that by hand. Just in some other vehicles, just say, I want to fold that seat, or I just want to fold this seat. But for that to be a power function is so funny to me, so I'll show you. So we're going to fold all rows of seat, or both rows of seating right now with this one button. And there they go. This is falling down. Okay, so they're down now, and when you put them down, you've got 84 cubic feet of space, which is less than the X7 and less than the P100 Tesla Model X, but it's still a lot of space, as you can see. But now I want to raise just that second row right seat. So I'm going to do that. The sheer elitism designed in doing this function is so funny to me. You're like, no, you're not going to do that manually, and you're not going to have to raise both seats, or all three front seats, second row seats at once. You can do it individually. I just want the third left seat to come up, just because we're playing this game. What possible use you would have for the third left and the second right seat being up at the same time, I don't know, but you can do it, and that's the point. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Christina comes up with a great idea. If you were in the third row seat, you could just put your legs up on top of the second row Look at that.
I would, and then I would set something up there to kind of play with.
Oh, okay.
Color.
Getting creative. I'm not that creative, so I just look at this and laugh. But Christina has some good ideas, some genuinely good ideas. Okay, I'm just gonna put them all up again. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. Yeah, I am. And here's the other thing. There's actually a good amount of space back here. So even behind the third row of seats, you've got, a good size cubby back here for you to store stuff. So you don't have to fold down the third row all the time. You could keep them up really well. And then you've got this false floor, and this is where you're gonna store your cargo cover. And then you've got a big cubby down here where you could stick some drugs or paraphernalia. I'm just kidding. But you could store some stuff down there. The other thing, when you actually are getting into the third row of seating, more power functions. Say you don't want to have to go to the trunk to push the seats forward. You can pull this tab, and the seats are going to come up. Pull the tab up here. Seats are going to come up, and they're going to tuck really neatly into that center console area. And by doing so, it creates a reasonable space for an adult to come back here. Now, I'm going to mock out this side step because look at how useful this side step is. And by which I mean it's not useful at all. This is how much of my foot it can take. So if I'm going to try to, balance myself. And no, I would never use that side step. Even a child with a smaller foot is not going to use that side step. It's just going to get in the way and bash your ankles. But anyway, so you can see this is a pretty good gap in here. I'm going to climb back there very easily. Okay, so I climb back there, and now you're like, well, what am I going to do about legroom? Because when this comes back, guaranteed it's gonna touch my legs. Well, actually, first of all, I of course have a power button. I've got headroom. I of course have a power button for bringing the seats back. So here they're coming. Why would I ever do this manually? This is where the seats sit. So I have legroom. It's hard to show, but I've got legroom right here. I have an inch of legroom. I'm 6 feet tall, and I have that's my driving position. And as you can see, right here, I would also have legroom. I almost fell. I would also have legroom right there. So you could fit 3 full-size adults. Christina's gonna sit back there, you can see. And she's pretty tall.
I'm 5'9".
She's 5'9". So you can see, you would definitely have legroom in all 3 rows.
It's kind of upright, but that's okay.
Okay, well you could also, if you adjust the seat back on the door, see the seating angle on the door? You can adjust the seating angle on the door, so the backrest, there you go. I still have legroom, And now it's a more comfortable recline. Again, I still have legroom back here, it's amazing. So yes, these are 3 fully useful rows of seating. Unlike some vehicles, I'm looking at you, Lexus RX L, which with your 3rd laughable row of seating. All right, let me hop out here.
You need help?
I actually don't have to hold this tab, I'm just doing it. Now, again, super easy to get out because they cleverly designed this. Literally, my only complaint is that I have to hold this tab to go back because I'm whiny, and I'm just going to complain that I have to hold this. All right, what other questions do we have? Because I've just been ranting by myself for a while.
Yeah, GG Gamer just commented that it's like a disco on wheels.
It is.
Then we have Try Generalized Psychedelics asking what your favorite mushroom is.
Okay, yeah, I was just kidding. Definitely no drugs. I was really just kidding about that. Don't do drugs. Don't put drugs in your car. I was kidding.
You also don't like mushrooms.
No, just as regular mushrooms, I do not like them either.
Or other types. Okay, and then you have the real Brendan saying hello.
Hello. Thanks for watching.
That's so nice. And then Elisha says, Miles and Christina, thank you for all of your hard work and great content. Have a wonderful week.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Bar Alicia. Bar Alicia, thank you so much. We love doing this content for you guys. We love putting out these videos. We have a lot of fun, and we get to do it as husband and wife, which is fun.
Yeah, and there are no more questions at this time.
No more questions. Okay, so just just to close it out, of course I'm going to rev it one more time because that's what you came here for. So why don't you head on over to the back.
Do we want to drive it a little too?
Yeah, we can just go around the block.
Okay.
Good, right? Yeah, it's really good. Oh, it shot a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
was
fuel
like
out the back.
it's
Yeah, that's fuel.
spitting.
That's unused fuel. We did use it, I guess, to make a show for you. All right, we'll just take it a quick way around the block,
Okay.
and then we'll close it out.
Oh, this is a good question.
Hmm.
Dogo Argentino asks, when will this be available for us to buy?
Good question. I think it is going on sale in July. So 3 more months from now, you should be able to buy your very own $133,000 vehicle. I say $133,000. This one has some options and a dead fly. He's not dead yet.
No.
Now he's dead. This one has some options, $20,000 of options, so it's $153,000, which is so much money. Oh, that's your jacket right there. I'm gonna go get her jacket because she forgot it.
I forget something every week.
She does. 2 weeks ago, she forgot a mug, and we found it in pieces on the ground when we came back. Always wear your seatbelt. That's your public announcement. All right, so I'm cruising around in Sport Plus right now just because I want the most exhaust noise. But if I wanted to, I could put it in comfort, and then there are 4 ways that you can make the exhaust louder because this vehicle is all about excess. One of those ways is to hit this button here on the steering wheel, which just instantly makes the exhaust louder. And if that's not good enough for you, then you could hit this button right here. That will do the same exact thing. So you just pull the tab down and now the exhaust is louder. And if that's not enough for you, Sport Plus mode will instantly make the exhaust louder. And so you do that by cranking on this wheel here until you get to Sport Plus. And then the 4th and final way that you can make the exhaust louder is to configure individual mode to, whenever you go into individual, it will just have the exhaust be in its, and they don't call it loud and louder, they call it loud and louder. They call it balanced and powerful. Balanced is the normal mode, powerful is the loud mode. That's just good marketing right there. I want powerful exhaust. Oh, so vicious. So good.
Dogo Argentino is very excited because he's been waiting for this for so long.
Oh, cool.
And then GG Gamer asks, does it power slide?
Does it power slide? No, it does not, because of the all-wheel drive system. It can send up to 100% of the power to the rear wheels, but it's very heavy, so you would have to really just overcook a corner to get the rear end to come around. You would have to turn off all of the traction control, which I believe you should be able to do, but just in terms of like power sliding, which by its very nature is like being able to accelerate and make the rear end come around, no, it won't do that. And the all-wheel drive system will be very upset even when you default to putting in the rear drive. It won't really let you power slide. But I like the excitement, and it's a great question because that's what everyone wonders in something like this.
Okay, and the real Brendan asks,
Sorry.
Can you review a Telluride or Palisade sometime?
Yeah, definitely. I had the Telluride. So I was involved in an accident a number of months ago, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but the reason I'm telling you is because about a year ago, and I had a Telluride right after that, but I wasn't ready to be making videos at the time, so I didn't make any POV driver walk around for that, but I will get a Telluride again at some point. I just haven't asked for it, or a Palisade. The Telluride, I can tell you from experience, is a wonderful, wonderful SUV. It deserves all of the accolades and awards that it has earned up to this point, including North American Car of the Year, World Car of the Year, and Motor Trend Car of the Year. It's so good. So I will definitely put that on my list of getting, or the Palisade. Palisade, basically the same vehicle, just with a little bit of styling difference. So I will try to grab those. And
Okay.
with that,
Well, we have one last question.
okay, last question.
From Sid Montana. What's the MSRP?
MSRP. So this one is 133,000. Sorry. The starting figure for the GLS 63 4Matic Plus is $133,030. This one, as tested, is $153,000, so 20 grand of options and like $500. That's what we're driving right now, $153,000 vehicle, and I find it so odd to say this because I'm usually just like mocking out of how they've like wasted money. This is worth every penny. This vehicle is. It's worth every penny. Everything that they've done is so good, and my few like critiques, like this brown leather, you can change that. That's easy to change. Just spec it differently. All right, and I know there are probably some other questions, but please leave them in the comments, and you know I will get back to you. And look for my walk around that just went live this morning, my POV drive that's coming up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., and my review that's coming Monday at 10 a.m. I'm going to start putting out reviews at 10 a.m. on Mondays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So look for those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you'll excuse me, I am going to use this bi-turbo
Finish with
V8.
power.
Yeah, finish with power. Okay.
Go.
Power. And traffic. And power. And traffic. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.